we got to get to a little bit of a serious subject today. So during the day, if you weren't following the Twitter feeds and the news on ESPN or NFL Network, Raiders wide receiver Henry Ruggs III, he was involved in a major car accident at about 3:40 in the morning, Pacific time, with his girlfriend in the car. His Corvette crashed into a RAV4, doing a high rate of speed. Unfortunately, the driver in the other vehicle died, and his girlfriend's in serious condition. And as of right now, Henry Ruggs has been booked for a DUI that resulted in a loss of life. So in Nevada, he's potentially looking at a jail term between 2 years to 20. So, Burge, I know all of us were talking offline a lot as the news slowly started to trickle in. What was your immediate reaction? Because I was in a state of shock. I couldn't believe it.
No, I was there with you. I know we were going back and forth on Twitter about it, just watching these reports come in. And, when I first saw the vehicles of that accident, without knowing it was actually him, those were at the rumor stage where it was flying around that it was his car, but we had no confirmation on it. Those cars, if I didn't know that people walked away from that or got out of that alive, I would have been like, you're joking with me. Like, this is no way somebody got out of that. Those cars were absolutely destroyed. Yep. And I mean, the fact that Ruggs ended up remaining on scene with non-life-threatening injuries with the police when this happened was just kind of mind-boggling after seeing that wreckage. Obviously, the report, TMZ I think had it first to confirm that it was him involved. Shortly after that, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department came out and said that they were going to be arresting Henry Ruggs for the DUI resulting in a death. All around, just an absolutely tragic situation, no matter how you look at it. Obviously, for the young I think it was a 23-year-old woman who died in this crash. So, obviously our hearts and thoughts go out to her family. And then obviously you got a 22-year-old kid who made an absolutely dumb, stupid decision to get behind the wheel of a car and drive in the state that is being reported he was in. It's tough to hear it, tough to see those pictures, and it's just tragic all around.
Yeah, I mean I couldn't believe it, and when the reports started coming out, I assumed the worst. I thought Henry Ruggs was the victim of he was on the receiving end. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think he was the one that was doing that. The driving under the influence. I thought maybe he was wrong place, wrong time. And then I saw the pictures of the cars, and I immediately thought back to last week when the Raiders played the Eagles, and you saw Ruggs and Devonta Smith do their old college celebration on the field, and I was like, man, like, did this kid die? Like, he was having a great season. He seemed to really be coming around. And then you start to hear the reports of he was under the influence, and then that's when I started getting pissed. Obviously, yeah. I felt horrible for the person that died in the crash, and then I started getting pissed because Craig Carton of WFAN, he brought this up because he's got sources in the league. Every year, the NFL and the NFLPA, they hand out a card, and it has a phone number for essentially no questions asked. If you're in a state where you can't drive, you can't operate a vehicle safely, you just call this number. They have car services and limo services in every city in the country. You call this number, they'll hook you up, they'll bring you home, no questions asked. Like, you live in Las Vegas, so if you didn't want to call the NFL number, you could have called an Uber. Like, nobody's going to give a shit. I think the Uber driver would have been happy to have Henry Ruggs and his girlfriend in the backseat of the car. And the fact of the matter that he did this is just idiotic. It's stupid. Lives are ruined. He is going to be going to jail for a very long time. Who knows what's going to happen with the girlfriend? I hope she pulls through.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's just like, you need to. This should be a lesson to anybody in the NFL, and this should really be a lesson to anybody, period. And Burge, I'm not going to go holier than thou. I did stupid shit when I was younger, when I shouldn't have drove. And I'll never forget this. I saw a commercial during Christmas maybe 3 years ago of like a DUI accident. And brother, you want to talk about scared straight? I was never an Uber fan or a Lyft guy because I always thought like I was going to end up in a ditch dying somewhere. Brother, ever since then, I'm like, I don't care. We're getting the Lyft. We're getting the Uber. I don't give a shit. Pride can take a back seat. I'm not going to jail. I'm not freaking killing anybody. But ipso facto. And this should really be a lesson for the league. And I really hope the NFLPA does something about this for each player rep for each team to sit down with these guys. And as much as like an eye-rolling experience it might be to have like a PowerPoint on what you should do if you're in a state where you can't operate a vehicle, like lives have been ruined, man. Like don't throw everything away because pride got in the way and you wanted to get home in your Corvette.
No, I totally agree with you on all of that. And, I saw something that came out earlier today, too, that Henry Ruggs, I think it was in high school, he lost his best friend to a car accident.
Mm-hmm.
And you go through something like that, you think that, that might get through to somebody that, hey, I'm not going to mess around with the car, with vehicles and stuff, all that. Apparently, that wasn't the case here. He's living in let's call it what it is. It's Sin City. He's got a lot of money, and he kind of probably had that invincibility feeling going on.
Yep.
And who knows? Maybe he was showing off for his girlfriend. I honestly, I don't know. I'm kind of speculating here a bit, but just at the end of the day, this is just an absolutely tragic situation for all parties involved because of just one a dumb kid's dumb, stupid decision.
Yep. Now, real quick before we move to the trade deadline, Burge, this team, as if it didn't face enough controversy and uphill battles with John Gruden and now Henry Ruggs, like, where do you think this team goes from here? I mean, we saw, like, after Gruden, it was a galvanizing moment that, they were able to go out and win a football game and win handedly against the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, where does this team go from here? They're in a playoff race. They're leading the AFC West. The Kansas City Chiefs are on life support. The Chargers have come down to earth. Like, what do you think happens now?
Honestly, I mean, losing the coach is one thing. But at that point, you had your team full of brothers in there that could kind of rally around each other to, kind of uplift the whole organization. This whole situation, I think, could have a really bad negative impact on the locker room. We're going to really see the test of the veteran leadership in that locker room, in these coming weeks here to see if they can hold it together. Because not only are they going to be upset at the victim who passed away here, but there's no doubt in my mind they're going to feel for their teammate because everything is changing in this. He's a 22-year-old kid. He's still a kid. And his whole life, based on this decision, is going to be completely altered, ruined. They're gonna feel something for that. Regardless of it being his fault. So we're really gonna see a test. I mean, I think if you had a veteran head coach like a John Gruden still there, that it might be able to rein it in and kind of keep pushing forward. But given that already happened and now this, I have a really hard time, seeing them continue on the pace that they're going on, that they were going on prior to this.
Right. I'm with you. I mean, I said this with Jay when we did the John Gruden emergency pod. I'm like, this could obviously it's going to go one of two ways. It's either going to be a galvanizing moment or this is going to be an event that's going to crater the season. Mm-hmm. Now, I kind of lean towards it's going to galvanize the locker room. Just because we saw, Steve Bisaccia, the interim head coach, he's been in the league for a long time, regardless of the fact that he's a John Gruden dude. But you look at the veteran leadership under Derek Carr, and then you have Darren Waller, who's really emerged as a leader, and on the defensive side of the football, Max Crosby, Carl Nassib. Like, I think there is the foundation there where they can circle the wagons and pull themselves together one more time and go forward. But I mean, whatever. At this point, anything could happen for the Raiders. I mean, locusts could probably inundate the Death Star on Sunday, and I wouldn't be surprised because it's almost like a black cat went under the ladder at this organization in the new stadium this year, because whatever could have happened has happened, and I just hope for the team they're able to rally together and move forward, because this is an exciting squad. We're gonna get possibly some new blood in the AFC West, and it just sucks. I hope it's a galvanizing moment.
I mean, if there's ever a moment for an underperforming, bad Kansas City Chiefs team to weasel their way into a division title,
yes,
this is setting up for them, you know, to do that. So I'm with you. I really hope that the locker room kind of galvanizes and keeps going, because at the end of the day, they had nothing to do with this, and I would hate for this to be another tragic kind of. I don't want to say tragic, obviously on a lesser scale to what occurred today, but you don't want to see that group get negatively impacted by this dumb decision. Let the bad results, let everything end now. Let the girlfriend pull through and let what's happened, and just try to move forward with everything.